All right, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions out there today, but from an angle you might not see coming. We're diving into this idea that to really, truly know yourself, well, the journey isn't just an inward one. Turns out, it has a surprising and totally essential external part.
So let's just start with the big one. Why not? What is the purpose of life? It's a question every single one of us has probably wrestled with. And for a lot of people, the answer seems to begin with this journey of self-discovery.
And when we think about that journey, we usually picture something, well, solitary. We think we've got to block out all the noise, retreat into our own heads, and go on this private quest to figure out who we really are. It's a super common idea, and it makes sense, right?
But what if that core idea, that the search for yourself is a solo mission, is actually fundamentally flawed? What if looking only inward means we're missing the most important clues about ourselves?
Okay, this is where things get really interesting. The common view, like we said, is that self-discovery is this private, internal thing. But the source material for this explainer completely flips that on its head. It argues that self-discovery is, get this, literally impossible without other people. That's the whole key. The most personal journey you can take is actually a social one.
I know what you're probably thinking. Other people? Seriously. Aren't they the distraction, the noise? I mean, relationships can be so complicated, so messy. They often feel like they pull us away from self-reflection, not toward it.
This quote just nails the problem with a purely inward search. Think about it for a second. We are so deep inside our own thoughts, our own habits, our own assumptions, that we have these huge blind spots. We just can't see ourselves objectively. It's like trying to read the label of a bottle that you're stuck inside of. Impossible.
So if we can't read our own label, how do we ever figure out what it says? Well, this is where other people stop being a distraction and start being an absolutely essential tool. They basically hold up a mirror for us.
And that's the core idea here. Other people are the only mirrors we have for the parts of ourselves we just can't see. Their reactions, their perspectives, their very existence reflects our own personality back at us in ways we could never, ever do on our own. And what's so cool about this is how practical it is. For example, maybe you do something you think is just simple kindness, but someone else sees it as you meddling in their business. Oof. Or maybe there's something you hate about yourself, like you think you're too stubborn. But then someone else sees that exact same trait and they admire it as this incredible strength and conviction. These mirrors, they show us that critical gap between our intention and our actual impact on the world.
But this whole idea goes even deeper, because not all mirrors are created equal. It turns out the most powerful, the most revealing mirrors are often the people we find the most challenging. Yeah, the ones we disagree with.
Our source gives this a fantastic name, a reverse illuminator. Picture this, it's a person whose viewpoint is so different from yours that it's like a spotlight is shining on you from the opposite direction. And it's that opposing light that suddenly makes the edges of your own beliefs, your own values crystal clear. So think about the last time somebody really got under your skin. According to this idea, that big emotional reaction you had, it wasn't just about them. It was a signal. That frustration or that anger was a mirror reflecting a deeply held value of yours or a hidden insecurity or some complex inside you that just got triggered.
And this all leads to an even bigger, kind of mind-blowing idea. What if all this friction, all this disagreement, what if it isn't just an accident? What if it's part of the fundamental design of the world, specifically to help us grow?
You've probably heard this saying before, right? A diamond is one of the hardest things on Earth, so the only thing that can actually polish it is another diamond. This metaphor is everything. The idea is that our character, our soul, is like a raw diamond, and it can only be polished and refined through contact and, yeah, often friction with other people.
The source calls this whole philosophy the relative world. It's this idea that our world is intentionally filled with all kinds of different people, different personalities, and different values for one specific reason, so we can mutually polish each other through all of our interactions.
So, let that sink in for a second. This means that all the stuff we usually try to avoid, conflict, people who just don't get it, daily frustrations, these aren't bugs in the system. They are the system. They are features, not flaws.
And if we're like diamonds being polished, well, you need a tool for that, right? All these difficulties, all this friction, are described as life's whetstone. You know, just like a knife gets sharpened against a rough stone, our character gets sharpened and refined against the challenges that our relationships throw at us.
And this story from the source just
illustrates it perfectly. There's this anecdote about a guy who had a relentlessly critical boss. I mean, at the time, he could not stand the man. It just felt like constant, unfair criticism. But years later, he looked back and he realized that boss's constant pressure forced him to think deeper, to prepare more, to be better than he ever had been before. And he said, that difficult boss, he was the best whetstone I ever had for my own growth. Wow.
Okay, so what does this all mean for us, right now? This isn't just some interesting philosophy to think about. It's a completely new operating system for how you can look at your relationships and your own personal development.
So let's just boil it down to 3 key takeaways. First, the dual journey. Knowing yourself isn't just an inward quest or an outward one, it's both at the same time. Second, the essential mirror. Other people are absolutely vital, and those really challenging people, they're often your most valuable mirrors, your reverse illuminators. And third, the grateful whetstone. Try to see friction not as some pointless struggle, but as a purposeful tool designed to polish you.
And when you put it all together, it leads to this really profound shift in how you see everything. Those people and situations that frustrate you, that challenge you, the ones you see as obstacles blocking your path to peace or self-discovery. They're not blocking the path, they are the path.
So, I'll leave you with this question to really chew on. Think of a difficult interaction you had recently, someone who really pushed your buttons. Now try to reframe it. See that person not as an adversary, but as a reverse illuminator's mirror. What hidden part of you does your reaction to them suddenly show you? What value were you defending so hard? What insecurity did they accidentally touch? Just take a second and look into that mirror. What you discover might just surprise you.